Time and again, I hear people say that personal experience is evidence or could be considered evidence for a particular religion, God, or spiritual thing to be true. There is a difference between reality that we can all perceive and personal experience. But some people don't think this way. The problem is that, from my perspective, the reality that you and I share is still my experience. It isn't your experience. I have to additionally assume that you actually exist out there and aren't just part of my personal experience. Yes, it could just be a simulation, but because we don't have evidence that that's the case, there isn't any reason to then believe that it is the case. The thing is, reality as I perceive it seems to be quite real, and you seem to be quite real, and from your perspective, I seem to be quite real. Now, we could all be wrong in this assumption, but we just kind of go, reality is real, let's move on. But what do we, broadly speaking, mean when we say personal experience, as opposed to an experience that everyone or anyone can have? And I think a good analogy, or a good metaphor, or perhaps a good reference point to what this is, would be the realm of dreams. So, here you are, you cute anime girl with a hammer. That's you now. Just go with it. And you're having a dream. And in that dream, well, typically, you don't know that it's a dream. You only know it's a dream when you wake up. But in this dream, you see a beautiful tree. So you go over to it. However, you notice something odd. You are about the same size as the tree. That doesn't seem quite right, but in the dream it makes sense. Of course you're the same size as the tree, but you can't help but feel something's kind of off. And then you wake up. In reality, this tree does exist, and you've been under it plenty of times. So that's probably where the idea came from. Why were you as big as the tree? Well, dreams are just odd. But no matter how powerful, no matter how amazing that dream might be to you, it is not something that I can ever experience. But the sitting under the tree that actually exists for us all, that is something we both can experience. Not only is the real world one that we can both experience, but we can describe it to each other in a very precise manner. Here's an example. You and I probably already know what this is. I don't have to say what it is. I just show you what it is. You know exactly what it is. You're just waiting for me to say the dang name of the shape on the screen, which is clearly a rectangle. What's that? It's not a rectangle. It's a square. It's not a square. It's not a square. It's a circle. Not a circle. I don't know what shape this is. Let me know in the comments below. No, I'm kidding. It's a triangle. We can describe it. We can write it down. We can talk about it. We can spell it. There's different types of triangles, and we can both share in this experience together and make sense of it and use that knowledge, perhaps, to better our world and better our understanding of the world. There is experience that you will have that is real, but it is not one that maybe somebody else has ever had. Maybe you had a butterfly land on you once, and that was a thrilling experience. And it's something that somebody else could have, but either doesn't choose to have, or maybe because there's no butterflies around they can't have, or any number of possibilities. But nonetheless, they can still imagine what that experience might be like, because it is something that can be done in reality. And besides, well, we have really good imaginations. But if you make a claim about that experience, that it so fundamentally changed your life, and now that you've had it, you can perceive things in a different way than everyone else, and until I've had that experience that I'll never see things in the right way, well, that sort of thinking is just nonsensical because, well, it's not testable. The person could go have the experience and say, nope, it didn't work, and you could always shift the goalpost to say, well, you didn't have the right butterfly land on your hand. What if it wasn't any normal butterfly, but it was a divine butterfly that upon landing imparted to you divine wisdom and knowledge that granted you special access to the secrets of the universe? Okay, great. Well, tell us all something that you now know that you didn't know before that would help us understand reality better. To then say, well, I can't do that, you just have to experience it, means that that experience, even if it was real, is completely useless. If none of us can apply what we learned during that experience to actual reality, then that experience is absolutely useless. Now, I am skeptical of many things, because I'm not sure if what you're saying is necessarily true, but I typically grant that the person honestly had whatever experience they claim to have had, even if that's experience that is completely absurd, like aliens kidnapping them. It's like, well, yeah, sure, you think that happened to you. It probably didn't really happen to you, but that's what you think happened to you. But no matter how real it is to you, without data to show that it's actually real, all it is something that you had happen in your brain. And typically, usually, we can tell the difference between that feeling that happens in our head or bodies and the normal day-to-day life that we have. And if not, that usually indicates something went wrong, or I guess you could say right, in our head. And that may or may not make us less able to interact with the actual real world. Is this a logical argument? No, it's a butterfly. But I could understand how you might think that that's a logical argument, given that you're an android and you haven't been programmed with all the correct things yet. And I've ruined this meme for a few people, and a few people that are in this know totally know what I'm talking about. And those that don't will probably look it up or not care anyways. What was I saying? Oh, right, logic. So, assuming that reality is real and that you actually exist and that I actually exist and that we're interacting with each other in some meaningful way, and that the things that we can experience together are distinct from the things that we can only experience in our heads, then that personal experience is not data. And nor could it ever be data. It's far too subjective. But if we all were going to become determined to write it down, record as accurately as possible these experiences, some of them would get to be fairly similar. But is that a result of the religion or culture that you were born into? Maybe. I mean, does anybody ever have an experience of something that they've never had any contact with? Well, maybe, but it's pretty rare, and that's usually the person that's claiming some bizarre thing so that they can start a cult. And Joseph Smith claimed to have this extraordinary experience of an angel, and then this golden plates and all this. Yeah, well, I don't believe you, because you didn't. The gold plates aren't there. Oh, they got transported back. Yeah, sure they did. Well, it's an unfalsifiable claim, and until you produce evidence, I'm going to be skeptical of your ideas, your argument, and your suggestion. And so, yes, people have wonderful dreams, visions, internal, what they call spiritual or mystical experiences, but those things from the outsider, when we're watching you have that, you're just there. I mean, maybe you're standing still or dancing or sitting very quiet, but you're not interacting with any of us. You're not doing something that's going to alter our understanding of this world that we actually have to mess around with. It's something inside of you that's still fun. We can go to a concert and both have a fantastic experience. But that's all it is. It's just that experience by itself. A moment in time that might never come again. And it might be something we remember, or it might be something fleeting. But it isn't data, no matter how wonderful or terrible it might be, unless it is something that we can all examine and test. And that is why personal experience continues to be a non-argument for anything and everything. Thanks for listening. If you don't think that I'm right, let me know in the comments below. Give your best logically coherent argument proving that I'm wrong. Or just say hi. That's good. You can always just say hi. Just say hi. What? Huh? Oh, okay. It's time to end the video.